SUPERVIVE. Okay, so take Hades, League of Legends, and like any battle royale and yam them together. That's SUPERVIVE. SUPERVIVE is a fast-paced battle royale game with arena game mode options that can be played as a solo, duo, or squad. There's a good variety of champions to pick from, and the game is not overwhelming to learn. This game is perfect for your competitive friends who think that MOBAs are either too boring or overwhelming, as it balances skill with a fast pace and engaging fights. It goes without saying that the goal of SUPERVIVE is to be the last man or team standing, but SUPERVIVE introduces some new game features to help you get there. To start, you'll drop onto the map equipped with a weapon and the option to upgrade one ability. From there, it's really up to you what you want to do. You could fight people right away, but both teams will likely only have one ability, so it'll just be kind of a sad fight. It's worth it to look for creep camps spread throughout the map so that you can level up your abilities and items. You won't be able to fight with all your abilities until you hit level 5, so leveling up fast is typically the first goal to shoot for. Regardless, as you play the round, you'll level up your abilities and items from killing others and creep spawns. And that's pretty much it, you'll just do that until you're the last one left. That's basically the basics. So what does SUPERVIVE do well, and what downsides does it have? SUPERVIVE is a blast, man. Fights are so satisfying. Hitting 4 stacks of lightning and diving onto an enemy just to stun him immediately afterwards was so good. As I mentioned before, there are a good selection of champs to choose from, and each champ is viable in its own way. Obviously, as a solo, you probably won't have the best chance at winning as a healer, unless you're trying to meme a game by running around the whole time. But a healer in a squad is incredibly valuable, and helps so much in large fights. Champions each have their pros and cons, and they're honestly really easy to figure out just on your own by playing. Some attackers have incredible damage, but it takes them like 3 seconds to let off a shot. Some attackers are tanky and can pull enemies together, which is cool, but that basically makes you a crip in blood territory. There's a lot of champs, but it won't take long for you to figure out your favorite champions and playstyles. There's some smaller things that are done pretty well too, like the camera movement with your mouse and how it extends wherever you're looking. It may take a second to learn how to lead shots, but once you figure it out, it can be both super fun to shoot others or dodge incoming shots. Spiking enemies is super satisfying. The extra game rules are not game breaking and are really fun to utilize, if you remember they exist. I mean, overall, champions are balanced for the most part by team comps and careful use of abilities, so it really feels polished and enjoyable. But now onto the bad. So now I want to talk about some of the stuff I think needs some work before the full release. I would have really liked to have seen just some more detailed explanations on how to play the game. Truly, the tutorial sucked for this game. The practice tutorial was a little confusing and led you to what appeared to be a practice area with no explanation of what to do after you finished. In the character selection menu, movesets had explanations and statistics, but they really didn't give you an idea of how a champion works. If you take a look at League of Legends, they show each move that a champion does at a base level, and then leave it up to you to get creative with the moves that you have. I feel like a demonstration of how to use a champion is needed in SUPERVIVE, as it's hard to learn a fast-paced game with no visual example of how a champion works. On top of that, very little things like learning how to drop onto the map were confusing. I promise I'm not that stupid, but I was spamming along the blue line trying to figure out why it wouldn't let me drop on the map. That one's probably more on me though. Understanding items and what they do is not explained, and is assumed that you'll figure them out. For a new player who hasn't seen a game like this before, I can imagine they'd be super overwhelmed trying to figure out what everything in their inventory does. Some champions feel like they'll destroy you in like half a second, leaving you super lost.
You ready?
Yep.
We jump the healer.
Dude, oh my gosh, it wasn't worth it.
I feel like a majority of the problems I had with SUPERVIVE have to do with learning the game. Some of these things really just take time to learn, like which champion does what, but the issues I had were with parts of the game that couldn't really be learned without an explanation or careful examination. For example, a champion may seem broken to you, but it's likely you just don't fully understand their moveset, passive abilities, and maybe how to space against them yet. You can figure that out with time, but learning the impact of upgrading items or how to utilize active abilities will take a lot more attention to detail that you definitely don't have mid-game. Really, you may just need to stick through a couple beatings to understand how to counter or play against certain people. You just need to give yourself a little time. And overall, I think this could be taught a little bit better.
Dude, what just happened to me, bro?
I think the biggest issue I have, that's kind of petty, is that you can't leave the game at all unless you quit to the desktop. And even if you do that and try to reboot the game, it'll just force you to rejoin the game you left. I understand that the devs probably don't want people to just quit out on games, but I joined a bot game just to practice a champ, assuming I could leave once I tried a couple things. But I got stuck there for like 30 minutes as they forced you to finish a game. That was super annoying. I feel bad critiquing some parts of this game because it is just a demo, but those little things were really all I noticed. It feels pretty polished already. I hope to see some of those nitpicky things fixed upon the full release, like better explanations for characters and how the game works in general. If the game is in a way worse or way better shape, I may make another video discussing the good or bad changes that have happened to the game since its beta, if that's something that might interest you guys. Overall, SUPERVIVE is a really fun game, and I'd like to say it's going for the low price of free right now, but it was taken off the store sometime mid-October. But it will be back before the end of 2024, so definitely keep this game on your radar. SUPERVIVE does have a quick learning curve, intoxicating fights, and a large enough character selection that it'll keep you coming back for more. If you had the chance to play the beta, or plan to get the full version, I'd really love to hear your thoughts about the game in the comments below. I may have some poo brain opinions about some parts of the game, so truly let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.